Imagine this. You're walking down a street in 1518, and you see something truly bizarre. A woman is dancing. Not for joy, not for a celebration, but with a frantic, desperate energy. She's been at it for days, unable to stop. This isn't the start of a festival. It's the beginning of a nightmare. This is the story of the dancing plague of Strasbourg. It all started in July 1518 in the city of Strasbourg, which was then part of the Holy Roman Empire. A woman, whose name has been recorded as Frau Trafia, stepped out of her house and began to dance silently in the street. There was no music, just the sound of her feet on the cobblestones. Her husband pleaded with her to stop, but she couldn't. She danced and danced, her expression a mask of agony, till she finally collapsed from sheer exhaustion late at night. But after a few hours of restless sleep, she got up and started all over again. This went on for nearly a week. By then, she wasn't alone. A few dozen others had mysteriously joined her, their bodies flailing in the same uncontrollable, convulsive dance. The city authorities were baffled. What was causing this strange affliction? Was it a disease? A curse? At first, they consulted local physicians. The doctors, guided by the era's medical beliefs, concluded that the dancers were suffering from hot blood, their proposed cure, even more dancing. They believed that the victims needed to dance the fever out of their systems, day and night, until they were healed. So, the city council took a rather extraordinary step. They cleared out public spaces, like the grain market and the horse fair, to create designated dancing areas. They even built a wooden stage for the dancers. To keep the afflicted moving, they hired professional musicians to play pipes, drums, and horns. This was meant to be a cure, but it turned into a public spectacle of horror. The constant music and the sight of hundreds dancing only seemed to encourage more people to join in. Within a month, the number of dancers had swelled to around 400. The scene was chaotic and terrifying. People danced with a manic intensity, their clothes torn and their feet bloody and raw. They weren't enjoying it. Many were crying out for help, begging for it to stop, even as their limbs continued to move against their will. The so-called cure was having a catastrophic effect. The continuous, strenuous activity was too much for the human body to handle. People began to die. They suffered heart attacks, strokes, and pure physical exhaustion, collapsing right there on the dance floor. The death toll rose daily, with some reports claiming as many as 15 people were dying each day. The authorities soon realized their initial approach was a deadly failure. Panic set in. They banned the music and public dancing, and the city's strategy took a sharp turn towards the supernatural. If medicine couldn't explain it, maybe religion could. The dancers were now believed to be victims of a divine curse, specifically the wrath of Saint Vitus, a saint who was known to curse people with uncontrollable dancing. So, the remaining dancers were gathered up and taken to a shrine dedicated to the saint high in the mountains. They were made to pray for forgiveness and perform religious rituals. It's unclear exactly what happened at the shrine, but after several weeks, the last of the dancers finally stopped. The plague, which had gripped Strasbourg for the better part of 2 months, was over. But the central question remains: what actually caused it? Historians and scientists have debated this for centuries, and there are several compelling theories. One popular idea is ergotism. Ergot is a type of mold that grows on damp rye, a common grain used for making bread. Ingesting this mold can cause a condition called ergot poisoning, which leads to convulsions, muscle spasms, and vivid hallucinations. This could explain the involuntary movements. However, many experts point out that ergotism also typically causes gangrene and restricts blood flow, symptoms that weren't recorded in the Strasbourg accounts. Another theory points to mass psychogenic illness, or mass hysteria. Think of it as a social phenomenon where a group of people under extreme stress start experiencing similar physical or psychological symptoms. Life in 1518 Strasbourg was incredibly harsh. The region had been hit by famine, disease, and extreme poverty. The people were starving and desperate. In this environment of intense psychological distress, the sight of one person's strange behavior could have triggered a chain reaction, a shared delusion that spread like a virus. The belief in supernatural curses was widespread, making the population especially vulnerable to such an event. The dancing in this view was an unconscious outlet for overwhelming stress and anxiety. We may never know for sure what drove hundreds of people to dance themselves to death in the streets of Strasbourg. Was it a physical ailment from poisoned food? or a psychological breakdown of a community pushed to its limits. The dancing plague remains one of history's most bizarre and unsettling mysteries. It's a chilling reminder of how vulnerable the human mind and body can be, and how some events are so strange they defy all easy explanation. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, don't forget to like and subscribe for more dives into the unexplained corners of history.